attached to by a parasite.
Hi, thank you so much for clicking on the video. I really appreciate it. And today I'm talking about probably one of the most disgusting diets I have ever come across and heard about. I'm talking about the tapeworm diet. Now, if you know anything about tapeworms, you know that they are basically leeches that attach to the inside of your stomach, and whatever you consume, they consume. So it almost seems logical to use them as a weight loss tool. However, you're literally ingesting a parasite and being host to another living organism inside of you. So the tapeworm diet actually stems from the fact that back in the day, our bodies played host to a numerous amount of different organisms, and among those were worms and other kind of parasites that were inside our body. And that's because hygiene, diet, and lifestyle practices way back when weren't always the cleanliest, weren't always the cleanest options. So that was just the norm back then. These things just lived inside of people. As society progressed, however, and technology, modern medicine, all of that came into effect, those parasites, those worms, those organisms died out, and our bodies no longer had them anymore. So there are people alive today who hold the belief that our bodies are not complete or whole without those worms or other organisms. Almost as though our body is searching for these organisms to live inside us. The theory that these people believe is that our bodies, as they have become more accustomed to modern medicine and modern lifestyles, and become accustomed to foreign substances such as medicine and those kind of things and conditions that weren't around back then and that are around now, our bodies now have an immune system imbalance. And these people believe that the only way to balance our immunity is to reincorporate parasites and these kind of worms back into our body. So when it's presented to you like that, it's almost like it's a nice idea. Like, oh yeah, it's totally logical to put this worm back into my body because that's how it used to be. However, that's not the whole truth. They kind of leave a few points out. So how does this work? As I mentioned earlier, you become host to a tapeworm. The tapeworm is ingested into you and attaches itself to your stomach with its mouth suckers. And they look similar to, I can't remember the name of it, but it's an invasive species in the state of Michigan, well, most commonly in Michigan. And it's like this wormy thing, and then its mouth opens up, and it's like all these like suckery teeth thingies. So it's kind of what the tapeworm looks like. So that attaches to the inside of you, and like I said, what you consume, it consumes. The general idea and misconception of this diet is that the food you eat is split between the tapeworm and between what your body absorbs. So it's used as calorie control. See, as humans, we're super lazy and we want an easy fix, the easy way out, and the most simplest solution to everything. So here it is. Here is the easiest way. You want to eat junk? You can eat junk and only half of it gets absorbed into your body. The rest is consumed by a parasite. However, that is not the case. The tapeworm is just as selfish and lazy as us humans. So it's actually going to absorb and feed off of the majority of what you consume. So how do you become infected by your very own tapeworm? There are a few ways to get one of those lovely little wormies inside of your tummy. And the first way is the most common way, and it's by consuming raw meat. Another option is to eat meat that has been infected and contaminated by feces, which is excrement from, And another way is you can actually now take it in a pill form, and it's actually illegal in America. So you have to travel outside of America, smuggle it back in, or take it over there, take it in another country, come back to America, and yeah. So if it's illegal, it probably isn't the best idea. So what are the risks? First, a tapeworm is not intelligent, nor is it obedient. So like I said before, they're selfish. So they don't know that they're supposed to be sharing. So they're not gonna share. So it's not calorie control, it's just restriction. It's calorie restriction because your calories are going towards this other organism rather than yourself. And so you're going to have a decrease in calories, a decrease in energy, and a decrease in the ability to stay alive. Another thing showing how disobedient tapeworms are, they will travel at their own pleasure. If they feel that they are sick and tired of your stomach, they have no problem with traveling to other parts of your body. It's possible for a tapeworm to travel to any part of your body and reattach itself. There have been times and cases where they've actually attached themselves to your heart or to other people's heart and basically given that person a heart attack because it started to consume the muscle and mass tissue around the heart, stopping the heart. There have been other cases where the tapeworm has traveled to a person's brain and done the same thing, attached itself to the brain and started to eat the person's brain. You can't control these things. They have a mind of their own. They have one thing on their mind, and their one thing is to consume and to consume whatever they can get their hands or their suckers on. So like I said, the tapeworm is an easy way out if you can use the word easy, because there's so many health risks that come along with it. This diet ignores proper eating habits and exercise as plausible ways of weight loss, and instead they are encouraging risky behavior, unhealthy behavior, and behavior where it could result in your death. That is huge red flag. That is how deplorable and disgusting this diet is. And the fact that it was advertised on TV. I saw it on TV a few years ago being talked about, people traveling to really dangerous parts of the world to get infected by a tapeworm and then coming back to America and living with this thing in their body. Like this is the length that some people will go to. It's sad, and I'm sorry to say it's pathetic. If you just put a little effort in, you'll lose weight, you'll be healthy, and it's totally worth it. So there are a lot of side effects, but here are the most common ones. Abdominal pain, weakness, nausea, diarrhea, headaches, constipation, and bloating. Not to mention that the way you get rid of a tapeworm is incredibly uncomfortable. There are 3 ways you can get rid of a tapeworm. 1, they don't do this much anymore, but back in the day, they would basically put a piece of raw meat on the tip of a person's tongue, and the tapeworm would actually come up the person's esophagus, and then they would pull the meat, and the tapeworm would come out with it because it would attach itself to the meat. One problem with this way of doing it, and why they stopped doing this method of getting rid of the tapeworm, is tapeworms can break in half and reattach itself and like grow a new mouth. And it can break in half. It can split itself and still survive. So that's why they don't really use that method anymore, but that was one way that people would get rid of tapeworms. Another way is that they would basically take something, I can't remember exactly what it was some kind of chemical compound, something that would basically flush the tapeworm out, and they would basically poop out the tapeworm still alive. So that's one option. Another option is that basically over time, if you starve yourself, the tapeworm starves, and it can either go and reattach somewhere else, or it'll make its way through your system, and again, you poop it out living. The 4th way, which is now more common and probably the safest way to expel the tapeworm is basically by taking a pill that is okay for you to ingest, but it basically kills the tapeworm, and again, you have to wait for it to pass through your system, which can be really uncomfortable and can lead to like all those side effects. So if you honestly think that this is a good idea, a good way of weight loss, you need to check your mental state ASAP. So that's the tapeworm diet, and just researching it and talking about it really creeps me out, the fact that there are people willing to go to this length to lose weight when it's so easy. It's not easy, but it's worth the hard work to eat right. It's worth the hard work to go work out. It's worth it. You feel like you accomplished something and you didn't have to infect your body with a parasite. So that's always a plus. Anyway, thank you so much for clicking on the video, for watching it. If you learned something, if you liked something, please give this a thumbs up, a like, maybe subscribe, maybe leave a comment. I love getting feedback. I love getting criticisms. So I will see you next time. Bye.